Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where I've warped forward about a year here and we are full on science for our Skylab. We want to transmit this on back, and so we shall. We're going to be collecting about 500 science for this one. We don't have enough electric charge, but we are allowing partial, so this should be relatively fine. We should get it transmitted back. There we go. We've got it back. Fantastic. So we are continuing our research here, and I would go up to 100x time warp. It's going to get very flashy. I'm always very concerned about doing that, so I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, so here we are a while later, about 3 years later, and at this point, well, apparently, this has moved on us a little bit. Let's just reset that target angle. There we go. Apparently that had some issues, but we've got that fixed. We're back to full on our mobile processing lab, so let's transmit this back once again. Onward we go, and we'll just let this work on transmitting. We're 60% done, 80% done, and we are done. Excellent. So we've got a little bit more data here to research, but our rate is extraordinarily low. It's not really worth spending additional time on this, so we're not going to. Oh, these need to be reset. Right, these must have gotten unpowered from the transmission, I think. So unpowered from the transmission, and then we just park them like this, and now we're back to where we should be. Now, I don't like the fact that this high gain antenna is actually clipping into our photovoltaic panel. Probably should have put it in a different place in retrospect, but we can just retract it for now, and we're basically done with the Skylab station, but we need to come and get Donnie and Bob. So let's hop on back to the Space Center, and we're going to launch on up. We're going to collect them, and then we're going to mostly deorbit the Skylab. Mostly. Not entirely, but mostly. Using our Apollo command module is going to be the idea here. So let's hop on into the vehicle assembly building. We're going to launch up Skylab 3 here. There we go. We're going to open this. And this is going to be, of course, Skylab 2, but it's going to be Skylab 3. Right, this one. I want to double check that this got saved. Yes, we're going to be bringing back the Mark 1 crew cabin. That is, of course, a good thing. We definitely want to be doing that, and we think that we're going to be okay on this juncture. So, we're going to be launching with the Mark 1 crew cabin empty, and we're not going to bring Jebediah. Let's have, say, Valentina do this. Cool. So we're going to launch this. That'll be absolutely fine. We know we've got a little bit of wiggling if we've got the mech jeb early on here. So we're going to avoid using mech jeb for right now. We'll just have to do this the old-fashioned way, which is completely fine. Not a major concern. We also know that we're going to want to get rid of that launch escape tower in a potentially slightly different manner. So SAS on, throttle up. I guess we could grab our... We don't really need these, do we? We're going to leave them be. We're just going to go. So off we go here. And let's go virtually straight up. I say virtually because we're on SAS and it's going to go over a little bit. It's going to be kind of a little bit awkward, but that is reasonably fine. So about 5 kilometer apoapsis. We definitely need more than that. How are we doing for our thrust to weight? Yeah. So our thrust to weight is, I mean, this is very powerful for what we're doing here, right? No doubt about that. Let's bring this up to about 20 kilometers. We'll head virtually directly over to the horizon then, making a kind of awkward flight profile here. We've got a little bit of wiggling in here, so I'm going to have to keep it slightly under control here. I'm not just absolutely jamming us over to the horizon, but we're going to head over about like so, trying to keep our roll under control and our wiggling under control as well. That would be ideal. Just trying to do manual control since MechJeb really exacerbates this wiggling. We'll grab this atmospheric analysis. Actually, no, we're not. We're better off to grab the flying low atmospheric analysis now that I look at it. So that'll be fine. Let's just position right about here. About 27 seconds left of burn time. Okay, we're moving pretty quick here. No doubt about that. I'm just trying to hold this attitude-ish. The wiggling does, of course, make it somewhat complicated, the wiggling and rolling. But it should be fine. We've got 8 seconds left of burn in this stage, and things will get much better after this stage. 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay. Just getting ourselves a little bit of distance. And there we go. 755. Okay. Yeah, this is pretty high up there. But, I mean, that does mean that we'll have a very easy time intercepting. So the fact that this is a little overpowered is not necessarily the worst thing in the world. Our second stage, of course, is wildly overpowered as well. We've got about 4,000 Delta V here, and we're still in Atmo. Let's warp forward a little bit. We can, at this point, can we go to horizontal? Whoa. Were we in physics warp there? We must have been in physics warp there. Okay. So yeah, we've still got that bending going on here. What we really need is to get rid of this mass, right? That's what we need more than anything. So let's head on over towards the node here. We'll just turn SAS on. I do want to decouple this launch escape system. Let's get rid of that. We don't need it. We're not going to fire it either because we know what happened last time. That was a bit of a yikes. Lots of bending going on up here, but that's honestly not shocking. And this is only the... Well, this is the last time we're going to have to launch this particular vehicle. So this seems fine. We'll just make our way on up. And we can manage the wiggling. It's not a big deal. We should probably extend our solar panels. That would probably help. How are we doing on battery power right now? Oh, we're doing fine. No problem whatsoever. So we've got about 50 seconds until our burn starts. Make that 30, 20, 10. And I overshot it a bit, but it's fine. All is good. So that was, I think, a little bit more energetic of a launch than our previous one. But I also think that we put less into going into the wrong inclination, but we still have some in the wrong inclination. That's fine. We can correct that as we come into the station. I'm not concerned about that at all. So that'll be fine. We've got a lot of excess fuel in here, of course. And we're going to be ditching it, to be honest. But let's just get this circularized, and then we'll ditch it. There's a lot of extra fuel in this thing. Like, way too much. No doubt about that. This is massively overbuilt. But that's the way we like it. Cool. So we'll park here, and... stopping our burn right about now. That'll do. So now let's ditch this stage. There's a lot of fuel in it. But that's okay. And off we go. Now we can use Smart ASS. So that'll be fantastic. Of course, we're going to want to set Skylab as our target. I'm not going to do an inclination change just yet, unless we feel like we have to. So, just checking timings here. Looks like it's going to be waiting in orbit. Maybe even 2? Okay, that's kind of exciting amounts of waiting. Gotcha. So it's going to be 1 orbit, and it's going to be sometime around here-ish, but we'll have to toss in some inclination change, which is fully expected, of course. Okay, so keeping an eye on this ascending node here. Cool. Then we're just going to push this in a little bit. Ooh, not quite that far. To about here or so. And we'll just continue dialing this in. This is really close enough. It doesn't have to be any closer than this. And this will do. Yeah, our ascending node is a little off, but 13.6 kilometers is definitely good enough to dial in with. So that'll be okay. We'll just do a corrective burn as we come in, right? It's not a big deal. So let's head on over to the node. And let's get this burn started here in about 2 hours and 29 minutes. That is not as long of a warp time as I expected, considering we had a full orbit in there, but okay. Cool. So that's all looking good. About 58 seconds until our burn. 40 seconds. 30, 20, 10, and 3, 2, 1, 0, mark. Excellent. So about 100 meters per second to go in this burn. Not a huge burn here. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Cool. We'll call this good. That should definitely be good enough. That gets us to 13 kilometers apart. Okay, let's warp up to our periapsis over here, which is... Hang on. What is this actual position? Oh, this is our orbit, not this. Gotcha. I was confused for a second there. But let's warp up to the periapsis. Let's switch into target mode. And let's see how we're doing here. Yeah, this is going to need some work. What is our relative speed going to be? Yeah, like 150. Sure. That seems reasonably fine. Okay, so where are we in relation to the target? It could be basically anywhere at this point, since we know we're off in our inclination. Right there? Okay, sure. Let's burn towards target a little bit. So we'll burn out over this direction, just doing a little bit of correction. Just pulling the nodes together here. Overshot it a little bit, I think. Yeah, it'll need a little bit more, but that's fine. Let's hop around to relative velocity minus for right now. We're coming in at about 200 meters per second. So, of course, we're going to need to do some additional braking. Let's head in to about here. Actually, what's our current? 0.4 kilometers. Okay. We're going to hop in about here. Fantastic. And let's slow this right on down. So, first things first, we're going to want to push this node. So we're going to go into kill rot, and we're going to want to push this node to be about here. So another small corrective burn. Ooh, overshot that one. Okay. That didn't go well. Let's just get this corrected a bit. We're moving at a relatively okay speed right now, so I'm not too concerned about our speed. I'm much more concerned about our actual trajectory. So relative velocity minus, this is now 0.0. We may be, I don't think we're on an intercept trajectory yet, but it may start to get fairly close. Okay, let's warp this in a little further. We know that we can go about another 40 seconds or so. Cool. And let's do another small change in our trajectory. So right about there. Cool. And we're just going to break this right on down. That's orienting itself to its correct direction now that it's loaded in. We're about 0.5 meter per second right now. So maybe it was a little overzealous on that brake. Okay. Let's bring this into 0.0. And let's go to kill rot. I want to take us up over this direction. We're on the wrong side of the station right now, so we're just going to bring this right on up. But I want to slightly miss the station, right? So I want to be going about... not quite that much missing the station. About here or so. We're going to push in at about 3 meters per second, and let's switch over to relative velocity minus. Hopefully we don't clip one of those solar panels. I don't think that we're going to. No, that looks fine. That looks absolutely fine. Okay. Let's break this right on down. There we go. We're in a much better position for docking now. Let's set this as our target. We're not going to be exactly perfect. As we can see, we want to be like a little further up this way, right? So target plus is where we want to go here. And we could definitely just orient the station this little bit that we need, right? So we'll set this as the target. It's a very small amount that we need to line up. Let's just put this at target plus. There we go. And now things are much better in terms of their alignments. Just altering this a little bit, and let's go in at about 0.5 meter per second. There we go. RCS on, and I'm going to make a couple of small adjustments on the way. I'm also braking us ever so slightly here. That was not what I wanted to do. Okay, that could be a problem. I accidentally staged that. And we don't have an engineer aboard. Okay. So we have 97 meters per second to work with here. That was a big, big problem, actually. Very significant issue. Well, we can fix that, but it's going to require another flight. We could send an automated flight up here and dock up to this port, and all it would need to do is bring a decent amount of fuel up. This fuel was definitely intended to be utilized to deorbit us. So I'm going to transmit what science remains. There we go. And we're going to transfer this crew over to here. There we go. And if we were to go into orbital retrograde, how much delta V would we need to bring our periapsis down enough to bring this down? 250 meters per second. Okay. If we had an engineer, I would just grab this and bring it over and mount it on. Would be the way that would end up going. Unfortunately, we don't have that. We might be able to utilize RCS. We do have a fair amount of monoprop on here. We could see. We could definitely see. So, if we are controlling from here, then this is inverted, right? That means we want to be at prograde. And then we want to burn these because these are retro thrusters at this point. So we want to burn all of this fuel out, what little fuel we have, and lower our orbit. What just blew up? Oh, it was one of these photovoltaic panels. Okay, that doesn't matter. We definitely have some offset thrust here. No doubt about that. So we're just going to have to do some controlled burns here. I think this is still a manageable situation. Our fuel is definitely not enough to bring this all the way down. And we're not currently... Well, we're currently at the apoapsis because we started this burn, right? The question is, do we have the monoprop to get us down from here? Okay, so there's that all completed. At this point, we need to determine what monoprop direction do we need to go. Okay, this way. So we need to monoprop this, and we do have a good amount of monoprop here. Okay. We're definitely seeing these periapsis numbers drop. I'm going to quick save here just in case something weird happens, and we're going to try physics warping the... Oh, this is fine. Okay, we're physics warping the monopropping, and we're just bringing our periapsis on down. We wasted so much fuel, and now we don't have fuel. But it was entirely due to an accident. So we're working on deorbiting this station here, and then we're going to separately deorbit, or not really separately, it's the same deorbiting, right? Because we're docked, but we're going to separate this out and then put this into a bit different of an orbit. So really, we need to bring this down to like 40 kilometers for this. So that'll be the goal. So 120. 110. How are we doing on monoprop? We don't have a lot left. Okay. I wonder if we're going to get there. We might have to do some getting out and pushing, which is always awkward. Actually, I think we're good. However, we can't do what I had planned to do, which was bring these back separately. We're down below the periapsis, just barely. So, at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to undock here. And this kind of reorients itself. Okay, noted. So this is 60 kilometers. This is 61 kilometers. This is probably not going to go down on the first attempt. I'm actually shocked we had enough to do that. That's kind of wild. Now, this is going to burn up. We'll see if it goes down on the first attempt or not. We should definitely warp on forward here. And let's bring this down. That got awkward, no doubt about it, but it was entirely my own mistake. So that's fine. Let's bring this around to 70. We're going to be positioned retrograde. We're going to load this in, and we're going to retract our solar panel here and here. Okay. Now the question is, who has more drag? And are we going to come back this braking attempt? We're keeping an eye on the station up here. We just happen to be in the same location. What I originally planned to do was put this guy just above orbit, deorbit this, and then bring this back. So put this just above the atmosphere. Obviously, we didn't have the fuel for that. So, I mean, we technically did, but it would have been very strange. However, I suspect this is going to take multiple aerobraking passes at this point. So let's physics warp, because it's probably going to take some time. We're definitely seeing this decelerating more. So that's noted. We just hit periapsis here. We're barely in the atmosphere, right? Absolutely barely in the atmosphere. We are bleeding off some speed, so that's good. I am wondering how Skylab is doing. It's definitely trailing behind us. It's about 1 kilometer away now. It's going to unload soon. So we'll check on it as soon as we're out of the atmosphere here, which is now. Okay, let's swap on over to Skylab. Are we close enough? Yeah, we can just use this. Cool. So it is back in atmosphere here. It's going to take multiple aerobrake passes for sure. Okay, so let's warp on around and let's take another pass. Fantastic. We didn't get all that much speed burnt off. We can definitely see Skylab is in a significantly different orbit than us now, and actually a significantly lower orbit than us. So that's definitely intriguing. And around we head. We just hit apoapsis here. Let's double our time warp speed here. And I'm not sure where Skylab went. It is in a significantly different orbit than us now, though. It is quite a lot ahead of us. So that's fine. Flying high over the grasslands. Sure, we'll grab that one. Okay, let's physics warp. To be clear, without this being loaded, it might just never actually significantly change its apoapsis. We'll see. That would definitely be interesting if that were the case. So our periapsis height is not changing significantly. Our apoapsis height, of course, is changing somewhat significantly. Skylab is definitely heading back up at this point. And we're in virtually the same orbit now. I'm just wondering if this is not actually changing. I'm guessing it's not. We're decelerating a lot more. So that'll allow us to bring Skylab down separately. That'll be fine. I would definitely like... Okay, let's get out of the atmosphere here. So 67, 68, 69, and 70. Okay, so I want to warp around to about here. Because this is going to be a problem, right? This is going to be a while to bring this down at this rate. Granted, eventually we will come down, but we can accelerate this a little bit. So we're going to position up here. We're going to hop over to retrograde, and we're going to have Valentina hop out and EVA us. Actually, that's probably a bad idea, isn't it? We're going to have to play a little bit of shuffling here. Valentina's just going to park... Well, actually, we'll try Valentina here. Let's see how it goes. So we want to push this direction. And we're watching this periapsis height, right? So this is the most efficient time to do this. We would like to bring this periapsis down. We're just getting out and pushing here. We'd like to bring this periapsis down quite a lot further. I'm really, really loath to physics warp here. But we just want to get this down far enough so that hopefully we're not going to have any significant issues. So we've used 1.5 EVA prop. We'll just burn here, or not really burn, but we'll just position ourselves here until such a time as... maybe we're at 50 instead of 60. 50 would be much, 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 much better for us. No doubt about that. It is slow. That's for sure. It's very, very slow. But this is a way that we can do this. No doubt about that. So we're at about 2 EVA prop right now, and we're at about 54 kilometers for our periapsis. I think we'll just burn here until we're at 1 EVA prop, and then we'll call it good. That's not all that far from now, so that'll be fine. That should be around 50 kilometers as well, I think. Somewhere around there. A little over it, I think. Yeah. Okay. So there we go. We'll call that good. That'll put us in a much more quickly recoverable orbit. So that'll be great. Let's bring this on around, and let's bring this home. Hopefully this will be the final re-entry. We'll see. Maybe we'll do another monoprop run. But I would prefer not to. We'll keep an eye on this time to periapsis here. If that starts going up, that's our signifier that we're not coming back. We're definitely going to be spending significantly more time in the atmosphere. No doubt about that one. Well, this definitely went a little bit bad, but it was recoverable. No major issues there. Time to periapsis is still coming down. We are seeing atmospheric drag here, and we're certainly losing speed. But I don't know that we're losing enough speed. Time to periapsis has passed now. We're starting to go back up, so it is going to be at least one more pass. Okay. Well, to that end, we know that this is going to take a little while, and we know that the Skylab deorbiting is going to take a little while as well. So that's going to end up being a next episode sort of thing. I was really hoping to have this done this episode, and if I hadn't have messed up and gotten rid of our fuel... oh boy. To be clear, the first time when we dumped the 4,000 Delta V, that was intentional. It was as we were approaching the station, ditching the 1,200 Delta V. That's what was unintentional. But I'm going to put a cut in here, and next episode, we're going to bring this down. And honestly, it's probably only going to be like 1 or 2 more aerobrake passes. I think it'll be fine. Not a big deal. It's Skylab that's maybe going to be a lot more than that. We'll see. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Andy McGar, Spartan News, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12UK, Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.